Behind bars.
We're just pleased that he still faces substantial jail time.
Sean Diddy Combs denied bail as he awaits his sentencing. A hot summer.
Yeah. Where I'm from particularly, it gets quite toasty, over 100.
Heat waves affecting all across the country. Our DC bureau is live. And an increase in the minimum wage.
It's tough, and we should be paid the higher wages.
Coverage from our nation's capital. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Cassie Martinez.
And I'm Nicolette Esper. Today's Thursday, July 3rd, 2025.
Live from the Lee Caplin School of Journalism and Media in North Miami, this is Caplin News.
A verdict reached. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs has come to a close. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs is behind bars this morning after his jury reached a split verdict.
Yesterday in New York City, jurors found Combs not guilty of 3 of the 5 counts against him, including the most serious charge of racketeering, conspiracy, and 2 counts of sex trafficking of victims Cassie Ventura and Jane. But the 55-year-old was found guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, carrying a sentence of up to 20 years in prison. The judge decided to not grant Combs bail, so he will stay in custody until his sentencing. Ventura's lawyer Douglas Wigdor says he's glad Combs will still face jail time.
Pleased that he still faces substantial jail time.
A hearing is set for next week to schedule his sentencing date. The House is expected to vote on the Republican tax and spending cuts bill this morning. A final vote is expected today for the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. The $3.3 trillion bill is an effort to advance President Trump's agenda to end taxes on tips and overtime, cut Medicaid, and bolster border security.
From oppressive humidity to dangerously high temperatures, a heat wave has gripped much of the U.S., and this comes just as the country prepares to celebrate the long weekend.
Our D.C. Bureau reporter Laura Iglesias has a look at how people in the nation's capital are coping with the extreme heat.
Turns out there are hotter places in the summer than Miami, and Washington, D.C. is one of them. The city has been faced with an intense heat wave like no other, but it hasn't just been D.C. This intense heat wave is sweeping across the eastern and central United States. Over 200 million people from across the country have felt the heat for several days now, from Utah to Michigan and Chicago to New York and even as far north as Maine. Records are broken with some areas reaching over 110 degrees. Analysts say climate change is driving more intense heat waves. Daily life here in DC is becoming a test of patience and stamina.
The heat has been really bad, obviously. We've had some crazy heat last week and this week. Last week was really bad, so this week is kind of a little bit more tamer. I actually had to get an inhaler recently because the heat has been so bad. So drinking a lot of water, staying hydrated, and trying to do mostly things inside has been best.
Even visitors are feeling the pressure. For those used to dry climates, DC's humidity adds another layer of stress, and health experts warn it increases the risk of heat-related illness.
Where I'm from particularly, it gets quite toasty, over 100, but always whenever I visit friends and family here, I have to buckle down and remember that I'm dealing with humidity too, which is a whole other hydration game, and try to time it right so I'm not out during peak hours, or I've got water with me if I do, that sort of thing.
Those who can't avoid the outdoors, like delivery drivers, staying cool is a challenge. But even as heat becomes more extreme, some locals say it's just another part of living here.
The heat has arrived, and for those who have been living here for years, it doesn't affect them anymore. They are already used to it. In fact, the locals here actually look forward to the heat so they can hang out.
With even more hot days ahead and July 4th around the corner, DC residents are bracing for even more heat. Healthcare professionals say the most important thing to do is to stay hydrated and try to be indoors whenever as possible. Reporting from Washington, D.C. and for Caplin News, I'm Laura Iglesias.
We have breaking news from the soccer world. International soccer player Diogo Jota passed away this morning after a car crash. The collision happened in Zamora, Spain, and killed both the Liverpool striker and his brother Andre. Authorities say the accident was caused by a tire burst from overtaking, and the car was caught on fire. Cristiano Ronaldo and many others have expressed their condolences, and they continue to pour in.
A bus crash near Los Angeles injured as many as 20 people, one of them a child, as it overturned on the Sierra Highway. Police say the vehicle was traveling north to Rosamond when it began to turn for unknown reasons. The bus veered from the road across the dirt, hitting the railroads and flipping several times. Currently, no more details are known, and the crash is still under investigation.
We're seeing a major turn in the case that has shocked the nation for nearly 3 years. The man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students appeared in court yesterday, and what happened left families stunned.
Caplin News reporter Stephanie Tenya is live with more details. Good morning, Stephanie.
Good morning. All eyes remain on Idaho, where the man accused of killing 4 University of Idaho students has now admitted to the crimes. Brian Koberger, a former PhD criminology student, has now pleaded guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder in a case that gripped the nation back in 2022. Some of the family members of 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death inside this off-campus house in 2022, showing up Wednesday to court in Boise, Idaho, to face the men who admitted to the killings.
The defendant will plead guilty to all 5 counts in the indictment: burglary, felony, and first-degree murder, 4 counts. Are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Brian Koberger entered the guilty plea just 1 month before his quadruple murder trial was set to begin.
I, like most everyone else, learned of this plea agreement Monday afternoon and had no inkling of it beforehand. Prior to that time, I was under the belief that this case was proceeding to trial.
The plea deal, a move that allows Koberger to skirt the death penalty and that at least 1 victim's family has condemned.
This isn't what we should be doing. You don't deal with terrorists, and you don't deal with people who kill your kids in their sleep. So, we'll never see this as justice.
And without a trial, key questions about the gruesome murders still linger.
Not liking the fact that there's no guarantee here that this individual is going to share details.
The prosecution giving an overview of evidence they will have presented at trial.
The state submits that the evidence that I've given just a quick overview of would show that as the defendant has just admitted and pleaded guilty on November 13th, 2022, he then killed Manny Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Ethan Chapin, and Santa Crono.
Nearly 3 years later, this case continues to stir emotions and raise questions, not just in Idaho, but across the country. On the burglary charge, Koberger will face a sentence of 10 years. He will face a life sentence for each of the 4 counts of first-degree murder. The 5 counts will run consecutively. Reporting live from North Miami, I'm Stephanie Tenya, Caplin News.
The minimum wage just went up in Washington, D.C., but not for everyone. As of July 1st, non-tipped employees can be excited because they're now earning a bit more, while tipped employees will have to wait it out. D.C. Bureau reporter Rosario Mendoza explains what's behind the delay and how workers are responding.
The minimum wage for non-tip workers officially increased this Tuesday from $17.50 an hour to $17.95 cents, the highest in the country. But tip workers who were expecting a raise of their own were left out for now.
Hi, how's everyone going?
Good.
The July 1st increase applies to all non-tip employees in the district, no matter the size of the employer. But a planned jump in the tip minimum wage from $10 to $12 an hour was recently put into hold by the D.C. Council. Even the residents voted for the initiative to increase it. Council members largely agree with hospitality owners who said the increase will hurt businesses, especially smaller restaurants and bars, which doesn't sit well with servers and bartenders.
Yeah, I definitely think the tipped wage should go up. We work events sometimes where there's no guarantee of tip, and so having that wage there is a really important way to make sure that we're able to pay rent and pay for groceries and other things. We're just trying to live out here. It's tough, and we should be paid the higher wages.
While some are disappointed, others say wage increases over the years have already made a difference.
When I started working here, I was about 17. That was about 4 years ago. So at the time, it was like $5. So now that we're seeing like a $5 increase since then, It definitely helps me a lot, especially when it comes winter time and it's like slower, and I don't have to fully rely on tips.
For now, the minimum wage for NAMTE workers moves slightly higher, while many in the service industry are left waiting. Reporting from Washington, D.C., and for Caplin News, I'm Rosaura Mendoza.
The most unexpected Miami team, the Marlins, are looking to extend one of their longest winning streaks in franchise history.
That's right, Nikki, and that's still ahead, and so is this story.
And I literally jumped out of bed, threw on some clothes, and got in my car and started driving.
An anonymous Good Samaritan leaves mystery gifts for his social media followers. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Last week, Brandon met a girl on a dating app. One day after work, he finally found the courage to ask her out. No answer. He started to panic. Was he being too pushy? Maybe it was too...
Hey, sorry I didn't respond. I was driving. I would love to go on a date. How does tonight sound?
Brandon tried to play it cool, but inside he knew. A girl so smart, so responsible. She must be a keeper.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says, sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles,
watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
We should still make an effort
to get to know each other
on a deeper level. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor.
It's time we take a step forward.
It's time we take a step forward.
Come together
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
People located in Minnesota might have some lucky days ahead, earning extra cash just by following a social media account. Cassie, this is not a joke. An anonymous man and generous one in Minnesota is giving out cash to his social media followers.
He posts video clues online for people to find the mystery prize in random locations. WCCO's Derek James has more on the story.
At Island Lake County Park in Shoreview,
this was the clue that I posted earlier to everybody.
The mystery man behind Minnesota Loot Drop is about to do some of his work.
I want to help people, and I'm tired of seeing people struggle. 2, 4, 6, 8, 100.
Typically, his paydays are a wad of cash hidden behind a piece of duct tape. Posted on social media is video of the area with a date and timestamp.
All right, guys, here it is. And I wait for someone to show up, wait for them to find it, and then I approach them, congratulate them. I ask to take their picture and wish them a good day.
With time to wait, we learn that Mr. Minnesota Loot Drop is not a wealthy benefactor. Quite the opposite. A gig job has funded his nearly $3,000 in giveaways so far.
You know, I'm not selfish, I'm not greedy, I don't need much, and I don't want all that luxury, I don't really want the fame.
A keen-eyed cash hunter can take anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour to arrive.
Some people say they don't know where it's at. Usually someone will pop on here and say that they're on their way.
While that didn't happen this time, it only took 15 minutes for this young man to track down the loot.
You coming for that?
Yes, I'm coming for the loot drop. And I literally jumped out of bed, threw on some clothes, and got in my car and started driving.
Moments like these have led Minnesota Loot Drop's social media accounts to pick up thousands of new followers in recent weeks.
First one that finds it, keeps it.
A giveaway in Harris last week has over 1.2 million views on Facebook.
It's exciting. It's definitely good to see others get rewarded.
Even if you're the guy who was just a few minutes too late to the prize.
I'm glad somebody else won too, you know? And if he came first, but it's a God's blessing whoever gets it.
If Mr. Minnesota Loot Drop can monetize his giveaways by getting enough followers on social media,
They're seeing it, they're liking it.
he hopes to be able to help more Minnesotans, including the one who means the most to him, his mom.
I'm actually hoping I can maybe retire her. I am passionate, and I do believe in this.
Derek James, WCCO News.
Well, Miami fans, unfortunately, the celebration is over for the Marlins. The 8-game win streak got taken away by the Minnesota Twins. Diving into this game, Kyle Stowers launched a solo home run, his 15th of the season, to the game. In the bottom of the second, the Twins responded with a 1-run lead, and the Marlins came close to evening it in the 6th, thanks to a 114-mile-per-hour double off the wall by Jesus Sanchez. But the comeback fell short. Minnesota edged out Miami 2-1 to tie the series, and the two teams face off again today in Miami. First pitch will be at 12:10 p.m. Looking forward to seeing the results of that game. Well, that's all the time we have for Newsbreak. As always, thank you for watching. I'm Nicolette Esper.
I'm Cassie Martinez. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.